thing.
We'll do that,
Okay,
see how that goes.
okay.
Okay.
Like a
So,
roll call?
call to order, so stormwater bylaw review.
Right,
committee.
this stormwater bylaw review committee for October 29th, 2024.
Mhm.
I call Kevin Keane is here. Mr. Salo is absent. Mr. Levy.
Here.
Ms. Barber,
Here,
Ms. Helwig,
not here yet.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Ryder,
Here.
Ms. Anderson,
Not here yet.
Mr. Pace.
Here.
Mr. Ponda.
Here.
Town meeting still hasn't gone off on me, so I'm doing fine. Okay, we're all here, so we have to approve the minutes.
Your minutes from last time, so,
And
well, from 2
discussion.
meetings ago, technically.
And do we have a motion to,
So 10-1, the meeting minutes were included with everybody, and they are right here, if anybody would like to see or review them.
I couldn't
What you
find
got?
anything.
Oh,
oh,
so, it's a holiday,
It was so.
kind of hurts.
It was so perfect.
my heart is so pitter patter right now.
Wow, that's good.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll take it, all
do
right.
you want to make the motion?
I move that we pass the,
Accept the minutes?
accept the, which one?
Sue accepts the
9/17.
10, the date of meeting, October 1.
It's the 9/17 minutes though, isn't it?
Nope,
Nope.
it's from the October 1st, because we would have met on the 15th, and they were the meetings from the October 1st meeting. October 1st meeting minutes. But since the 15th kind of got debacled with storm.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we have
I move we approve the
10.
10-1
10-1.
minutes.
Okay,
Second.
Seconded by Josh.
right, discussion. Hearing none, let's have a vote. Do we have to roll call? Or we just do voice vote?
You can do just vote for it.
Voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. All right, we've passed our minutes.
Pass the minutes.
Weston and Natick bylaw regulations and review. Other bylaws and regulations to review. All right.
I'm just gonna start out with
Yeah.
saying that John had sent an email saying that he has reviewed the Weston bylaws as well, and he will be sending some notes tomorrow. He was out of town, so didn't have the opportunity for today. However, he will send those on his thoughts on it. But I don't know if you would like to go through like a round table, if there were any comments or things that people specifically liked in Natick and or Weston, or disliked in Natick and or Weston and or Needham for that matter. Or if you just want me to pull up a document and start putting it in.
Let's do one, and did you all review them or no? Okay,
Somebody is here.
pull up a document, yeah, let's pull.
Janine is here. Hold on a moment. I'm just gonna promote her to panelist.
Swedish fish take too long.
I know, but that way you can save it.
I was gonna say that, but
Hi, Janine. Can you hear us?
I can, thank you.
Fantastic. All right, there's
Thank you.
Janine.
You're marked as present. Thank you.
You are here.
Okay,
I'm just eating some.
Janine, we're just talking about the Natick and Weston bylaws. We're gonna compare them. We're to look at them. If you want to pull up Natick. If you would, I'll
I
tell
have some
you,
hard copies here too.
okay, oh, great.
But I did not print Western.
All right. I compared them, not line for line, but I did, thank you, but going through them on my computer, just, side by side. Some observations. Natick was 14 pages, Weston was 9. Weston technically seemed more technical in their bylaw in some respects, and their purpose and definition, and definitions. Natick had better definitions. But Weston had something called a definition of an existing lawn, a lawn that had been around for 2 years. It's like, okay, good to know. I guess that means something. But Natick had like stockpiling, stormwater management. And they also had permit thresholds, which I thought was a better way to do it than what Weston was doing. They also, the administrators, they in Natick was Concom.
I know,
Weston seems to create a whole nother department,
yeah,
and I don't think we need to create another department. So let's not do Weston. And but I like they had performance standards in Weston in the regs. It seemed intelligent, at least what I was reading, and then Natick talked about in inspections on page 11. They also talked about criminal penalties, which I thought, I didn't know we were skating there.
You don't
Wes-
have to be.
Right, and Weston talked about, you know, Natick talked about non-criminal dispositions, Weston did too. But in Needham, we have a section of criminal. Non-criminal dispositions, these are in the bylaw, and it was because everyone was putting them everywhere, so they've all been corralled. So we have something, I think, existing. So if we add something, understand it'll probably be moved into our bylaws about non-criminal dispositions. It won't live in this bylaw. But we might want to note it. And after that, I'm done. Anything else? Yeah.
I had, when you mentioned that the stormwater permitting authority, I kind of liked what Weston had. As a, Weston. I kind of liked the combination that they had, stormwater. I don't know whether.
Yeah, well, I like the part that was under direct control of the select board. No,
Because the select
it
board
just
will be
appeals-
responsible for the Nifty's permitting. too, so
Yeah, it
that's
just
okay.
appeals to my ego, but
Okay.
no, I think, what were they
Why-
calling it? The Stormwater Permitting Authority.
Yeah,
And then spoke a number of pages about it all at great length, and I think Needham has it under
It's under
Concom,
DPW.
DPW, is it shared with Concom? No, okay,
They have some responsibility for approval of permit steps and things, but it is the DPW director who is directly responsible for
okay,
Nifty's and stormwater.
right,
Which always struck me as a little. Well, I mean, it basically falls in the town engineer.
No,
Right,
well,
that's fair.
yes
I
and no. I mean, it falls, the reason why the DPW director is the responsible party is because, they oversee engineering, which would be part of the,
Right.
things like that, and approval of site plans and things of that nature. But also we house water and sewer, which is obviously all the drainage and all the
Right.
assets in town,
Right.
and any kind of plantings and things, parks and forestry that we would do for.
Yeah.
You know,
I think,
stormwater erosion, things like that.
and the building inspector, right?
Well, the
You-
building
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
technically,
It's not
yeah,
in DPW,
building's not in DPW, they just happen to sit in the same building as us.
Okay,
which is why I mean, I feel like the building inspector should be more involved.
Well, in our current bylaw, technically we are.
Okay.
Yeah,
But basically what, the way it works now is we, through the permitting system, through Viewpoint Cloud. Once we do our building inspector stuff, and it just gets forwarded to Tom's people.
We do, yeah, we just do a cursory review.
Yeah.
And.
Mhm.
But the permit is not, I mean, the permit goes through the building department or conservation, planning board.
right,
Yeah, well,
I think
planning board's not on BPC though.
Right.
no. I think it's important to differentiate, so responsibility for stormwater is not like their quote unquote permitting authority. Whoever that is, or whoever you decide is the correct person or place for it to be,
Mhm.
I think the DPW director is still the correct place for it to be because it oversees the majority of the departments that affect stormwater quite a bit or have a lot of effect on it. But that entity is responsible for all the reporting, all of the
right,
EPA communications, all that other stuff. So if the select board wants to take that on, you by all means, please.
Well, just to be,
I insist.
volunteer. Yeah, volunteer, although you will put me out of a job. So.
just to be clear, the DPW director is responsible for the day-to-day administration, but the
Yeah.
permit authority is the building department.
It's
planning,
building, yeah.
zoning,
Okay.
Mhm.
and conservation.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I would add to this, and although I haven't looked at Weston's, I haven't studied David's, I've certainly looked that out a lot. I think there needs to be, and maybe I'm too early on these comments, but I think there needs to be, number one, more clarification, it needs to be clearer for the user end. So that when people look at our bylaw, and say, okay, what do I need to do? It's a document that's understandable. And I think there has to be also a couple of distinct buckets. Deputies and what basically we've been trying to get at is flood control from construction.
Mhm.
Right now, it all seems to kind of mesh together, and I think the Nifty's confuses the building aspect. of
Okay.
it. So that's, I just wanted to throw. those
That's good.
comments out.
okay,
Neither address, neither does the illicit, connections discharges either.
Mhm.
I think that's important.
It is, it might be something that I haven't looked at their regulations documents, I only focus on the bylaw for this
Okay.
week. I don't know if they address illicit connections in their regulations, maybe,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it's something we are better off having in in a regulations document versus the actual bylaw,
Hmm.
but that's a thought. Moving forward, I don't know how you guys feel about that or what you think about that.
you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Needham currently has a section in their bylaw.
Right.
Entitled illicit connections,
Yeah.
IDP removal. Sue was noting that that is not in any of the bylaw, either one of Natick or
Right,
Weston's bylaw. I did not look in the overall bylaw template that Beta provided. But if it could potentially be that the illicit connection is discussed in their regulations documents. I did not go through their regulations documents with a fine tooth comb, so I didn't look at it closely. I didn't write the bylaw first.
There's no referral at all in their bylaws.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
okay.
So do we want to keep it? Do we want to remove it? Do we want to move it to, I mean, I'm assuming you want to keep it somewhere. But would you prefer to say, or is it more suited in a regulations document, or is it more suited to stay in the bylaw? You want me to get you some tea? Thank you, Steve.
I'm good. Oh, hey, I'm fine. This was last week, so
I-
I'm not.
my husband
I
had the
can
same
get you a
thing.
cup of
I'm not-
water. Have a cup of water.
I think it's probably again.
Well, I can get you a cup, so-
I think as part of the interest, I would keep it in the bylaw, because it's part of the interests that
I
we
think it's
have,
important.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's good. It's noted. in the bylaw. And also with DPW, I think DPW is so important here, is they have the knowledge about the stormwater, system. Too, I mean, I think it's extremely important that, you get,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like who's approving it, the Natick one's interesting, so in section 5, so they have these three, you know, the administrative approval, minor project, and major project. And each one has a different approval agent.
Where am I?
So it's, page 6.
5 and 6, 5.
Is it 5 and 6? Oh, yeah, 5, I outlined the three.
I just wanted to keep going so Janine can follow along with us.
Yeah, so page 5 has those three things up there, the administrative,
Where am I?
right,
Too far.
administrative
No,
approval permit,
so, yes,
Go up a little bit, part C, threshold.
so there's just a single family project. And it doesn't meet any of the other criteria, then it's, they're just 1 inch. And then the next section says an administrative approval is for. So all it requires is. The engineering revision, division of review in a building permit application, but then if it's a minor project, which is. Land disturbance greater than 3,000 square feet,
Mhm.
or, you know, moving a certain amount of soil,
Mhm.
then, it needs a permit issued by the designated agent of the Conservation Commission, not necessarily the Conservation Commission itself. But then if it's a really big project, 20,000 square feet, then it needs review by the Conservation Commission.
Mhm. I'm thinking two things. One is, I like the idea that Weston kind of combines the impermeable, the square footage along with the land, square footage. it's kind of a nice combination.
Okay,
But I like Needham. I mean, I kind of like Needham, and that's what the stormwater utility is all based on that too.
Yeah,
The fee.
4,000.
Yeah,
square
which is
feet.
good. I mean, it makes it more direct. I mean, it's just more simple. But and the other thing is, with all of this, we're talking about, I mean, is it gonna be an increase in personnel to carry all this out?
that would be lovely.
I'm not sure there's anybody more qualified to review any type of permits, right, other than the building department, and engineering, department, in my honestly.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody, I mean, Conservation Commission might be at some, but what
That's-
happens if
no
you get
offense to
somebody
any of
who's
the
not? Yeah,
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
somebody who's not an engineer,
Great.
not, they would look at it and they'll just be like, okay, well, I wanted to disturb the water, okay, great, go. I would,
But maybe
Yeah, and
other,
Dave,
other cases where the engineering department like always has, you know, the approval, but maybe for a certain large project, you require review by the.
By committee.
Conservation Commission.
yeah, we
Yeah, I
also,
mean, it's
we
gonna
always,
come up
we already
anyway.
have,
they'll
yeah.
come up anyway, kind of,
Yeah.
and you know.
Yeah, so the way Natick works, it's the conservation agent is handling the day-to-day task. But she will receive the application and she'll bring it to a internal committee with the engineering division, Board of Health. Conservation agent, it's just three. And they will review it together and then say, it looks like it's good, or they should add some more chambers. And then if it's a major project, then it automatically goes to the next. I don't think there's any notice requirements for others, and there could be. So we take a look at that. But that usually goes.
Yeah, and I think in the Needham bylaw too, it's, or no, I'm thinking I'll mix up, in our wetlands. Bylaw or regulations, we actually are supposed to have, I think, approval by DPW on some things. That I don't think really, it doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and it's run smoothly and everything. But those are our,
Probably
those are the
like direct,
wetlands,
yeah, maybe direct connections to drains and stuff like that, you know,
maybe,
so,
yeah,
so if they're doing a direct connection, then we have the utility, connection, right? So if they have like an overflow, like if they're doing their treatment system
Yeah.
on site and then they have an overflow into the town system, then it's a DPW
Then-
permit too.
okay.
So using that, if you want to, I can bring it up again, but the list of the concerns and things that we thought were not in the bylaw or made things difficult. Is what we're trying to
Right,
ascertain that we can either. Keep on our own, like from our own document, or lift from these other documents and sort of in the right frame
right.
of how they've said it, obviously in our own words, but. Or supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the section here is really direct, for using that term. Maybe it's not so much the information in the section.
What
I
section?
would agree with.
What section?
Page 5, section C, permit thresholds.
So Weston
It's
also
like,
has,
is a threshold of 4,000, but that's very direct. I think this is very easy to read, tells you what to do.
Yeah.
As Jim alluded to.
Well, and permit thresholds too, I want to understand too, that in Needham currently, we do not have a separate stormwater permit. The permit is your building permit. It's not, there's not a permit that says stormwater only, like it's a stormwater
Okay.
permit. We also don't have a minor and a major. We have residential, commercial, or demo. Those are kind of the
Right.
types of things you might hit a stormwater.
So do these work for you? Major,
so,
minor, what's the benefit?
yeah, that might clear a lot, like a lot of the easy ones
Mhm.
through, like small additions and stuff like that, and make it very quick, whereas. This, the ones that need more attention can be focused on a little bit more.
Okay,
That's the way I think about it. Now Weston has, Weston's on the web, I don't think Janine can see it because. It's not shared, but this is,
This is, yeah. Janine, can you see Weston now?
Yeah, I can see it. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
oh, that Weston's right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have a section C as well with, permit thresholds.
right,
And theirs is a little bit different, than Natick's as far as, threshold requirements.
Okay.
Also,
we have struggled with additions.
Yeah.
You know, in that whole bylaw, it's not clear that, you know, at what point do we figure an addition?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people will put on a 500 square foot addition, say, but then they're also tearing down 200 square feet to achieve it, so the net is only 300 square feet. And things like that, little details like that, swimming pools, in-ground pools. Do we need to conclude them when someone puts one in? You know, is the water surface an impervious
Yeah,
Yes,
surface?
yes,
So most swimming pools, however, have 4 to 6 inch freeboard.
Yeah.
Between the top surface of the water, so aren't they already capturing an inch? Automatically on that pool, on that impervious area?
But when the time we put a cover over it. That's the only difference, right?
Yeah, but also the apron.
I hear you on that too, yeah.
And just a lot of things that,
These are small projects that should be handled quicker. Where,
Right,
for
and if it-
small addition. yeah.
right, but it should just be prescriptive, right in the bylaw. Okay, here's what I'm doing, falls in this threshold.
right, okay.
And here's where, that's one thing that we're lacking.
Right, so minor, major works for you?
Yeah, or just like in the native one, just under the administrative approval, just to take that language and then we'll tweak it a little bit more.
Yeah.
right, so Natick uses the land disturbance, their definition of land disturbance is different than just impervious areas that are comfortable with that.
Land disturbance typically is for NEPDs.
Well, yeah, yes, you're talking about the 1 acre, the general permit stuff. Yeah, so they do so yeah, Natick does trigger like land disturbance over a certain month.
which is what we need to change our language to, instead of being. If you do construction that it results in more than whatever square, 100 square, 200 square, whatever the heck
Yeah.
that formula is, it needs to say a land disturbance instead.
Okay,
Those land disturbance notes that Natick has, it seemed pretty reasonable for minor.
I'm gonna say, is it better to have it like Needham and just have it by one measure? That, you know, the impermeable square footage. Or is it better to mix them up like Wesley's done? Or is it better to, I think Natick does totally the land square footage.
Is it possible to separate additions to new construction?
Yeah, I think it would fall within like the minor stuff, like for additions and then
Right.
like new construction. I think the trigger that is important that we see is someone comes in and they clear cut the whole lot, which was forested, and then they say, well, I'm only adding a few 100 square feet, but they've gotten rid of the vernal pool and a forest, you know, so. Yeah. So. which I think,
Well, all right.
Well, and also I think the case where people, you know, remove or add soil, you know, maybe they're not doing an addition, but they're changing the elevation. That might, I think that's important for that to be a trigger too.
Yeah.
right,
Then we had a conversation without being somewhat arbitrary, yeah.
So like, I really don't know about these numbers, so Natick has like 999 cubic, between 259 and 99 cubic yards. Sounds like a lot to me. But is it,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's not, okay,
it's,
Well, I mean,
it's not really, because if you're talking about, so. Does that include the foundation? So you're.
yeah, that was the conversation we had.
Yeah,
Where John brought up, it's like.
Yeah.
The removal and then basically the net cut fill side. It's really hard to tell in these small lots of Needham. Because you're excavating so much more past the foundation wall and then net infilling, we're bringing material back in. I mean, land disturbance is a better term.
I think, you know, the thing that I noticed on when we did our meetings with the residents.
Right.
And a lot of them, a lot of the areas that were subject to flooding. had several, homes that had been reconstructed. In the past several years, and a lot of them have mounded up.
Yeah.
So that. You know, you have flat lot, and then the new house is like this, so there's, you've lost that. That flow, you've disturbed the flow, lost the storage
Change the
capacity,
direction.
changed the direction.
Right.
So I think, not only I'm not sure that a number of yards works.
Is it like a change in elevation then?
Yeah,
Okay.
something, I don't know the answer.
Like more than an
Yeah, I
inch
agree.
or 2 inch or whatever the heck that would be.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of dividing up the fill, although how do you figure out how much you go up or down? How many inches you go up
You
or
may
down?
want-
I mean, you must
You
have to
may
be
wanna
able-
say, like, the trigger is like, you need to have the same direction of flow onto your property as off as pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, neutral flow or.
Yeah,
I like that.
so like if you build a wall at the edge of your property and all the water that usually goes into your property is now going to neighbors, that's, you need to mitigate for that somehow.
Right, but on the other, on the other direction, we have on Hillcrest, we have the whole lot sloped toward Alpine Road. They tore down the house, built a new house, but
Yeah,
they built retaining walls against the road and flattened out the lot. So,
I know that.
so they've under that scenario, they're actually less, I believe that they would have lessened the flow off the property. So this,
Okay. Yeah,
You just put a gold star in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, then-
They
They can
get
get that certificate.
the green certificate.
Yeah, we gotta, I don't know.
well, that's just some of the intricacies that we
Right.
deal with. Every lot is different, every situation is different, but no, it's,
Yeah.
so you need a document that works for that, like,
yeah.
And it's, again,
Well, they
trying
can,
to be specific enough to be enforceable, but not so specific that you're pigeonholed for every unique individual.
right,
Right.
Case. Janine, do you have any comments about either one of the Weston or Natick bylaws, anything you liked or disliked in general?
Honestly, I didn't really have a chance to really look through them in detail, so I'm really just listening to what you guys are all discussing, but I'm in agreement with most of what you guys have been discussing.
Great, just wanted to make sure I gave you the opportunity to.
Thank
Tom, have
you.
you seen that verbiage
Chime in.
anywhere?
Well, change of flow.
What you just described.
So if
That's
you-
interesting.
Newton has, it has something to that effect, although I really don't like Newton's as a whole.
No, I
but
don't
do
either.
like some, but I like some of the pieces,
okay,
So they have like a condition that, you must kind of, I forget how it's pointed out, but mimic the same conditions. You know,
Is
So
it,
Newton's a no-go?
but would something like that be difficult for a developer to measure? Like you have a
Well,
pre and a post?
I mean, they're reviewing it.
Okay.
yeah, so I guess like under minor stormwater, then like additions and stuff like, don't have to worry about it, but if you're talking about like a major one where you're doing a lot more site clearing or increasing more impervious area, that's probably something that could be on there, like you need to show. Like in the major, you might need to show the pre and post conditions, but you also need to show that it mimics the similar flow on your property.
So what if somebody
I mean,
has
you're
a
gonna
large garden? Technically speaking, it's still pervious, it's still pervious, because it's a garden, so it'll still
You'll be
be.
able to tell them.
But if you build a garden, you have to build it up so the water doesn't flood it.
Yeah, but you're usually not doing your entire yard. You build a new house on a lot.
Yeah.
You do total perimeter of the house.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate as far as like, if we put if we do a land disturbance of more than whatever square feet, we wanna make sure that if we wanna capture things, like what if you do a land disturbance and you're putting in a fence around your whole yard?
Yeah, that becomes an enforcement nightmare.
Yes, exactly.
right,
And I don't wanna make it an enforcement nightmare for you guys either. Nor do I wanna give anybody the tools to, tattletale on their neighbor every other day, just because they don't like the guy next door.
But that's where it comes in the different sections,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm just pointing out these
Yeah.
questions or things that.
No,
are-
you're right.
Permanent threshold is a good place to address all of this.
okay.
And, so this is really addressing, changes in elevation, right?
Correct.
Okay. Which should be addressed.
Do you want to Frankensteining a document together?
Well, so this is my
Since
next
it's Halloween.
question. So this is, so this is a question for you. Do you want to go over each of the different topics you want to put into the document first?
Yeah,
And then I thought maybe the first section to tackle, because it's gonna be the most arduous to me anyways, is the definitions, to make sure that we have all of the right
right.
area. We may not use all of them at the end of the day. We might not keep them all. So.
I would start with purpose and say, do you want purpose? Because I'm noticing a templating of, they're all
it is a
starting to
template.
sound like
So
purpose,
let me share
definition.
with you what I already put
authority.
together. Sort of. So draft document here.
Do any bylaws have their definitions as an appendix?
No, check, what did you do?
I was trying to,
Close your other document. Note to the left. There you go. Okay.
Whose computer are you watching?
You're watching Tom's computer, but I'm sharing on mine.
Okay,
she's hosting.
okay. Makes perfect sense.
Made it completely convoluted. No, it's okay. So I just started with a document that I already had that I used for something else. So the table of contents as it stands right now, I have a general section, which is sort of the purpose and objective, but it's just because I didn't feel that calling it the purpose and then having the objective under it called it out enough, so I just made it a general. Then I have the definitions section,
Okay,
and then I have authority, applicability as the next one. These are just placeholders for sections underneath it or explanations underneath. Then exemptions, administration, regulations, permits, plans, because I didn't know if we wanted to talk about what needs to be included on plans going forward.
Yeah.
because we talked about that in the previous ones.
Is this the regulations?
Nope, this is the
Okay,
bylaw.
I just want to make sure. Okay, keep going.
This is the
All
bylaw.
right.
Inspections and site supervision for stormwater and erosion control permits. This was out of Natick, so we may not keep that title. We could combine that into something else. I'm just saying I got them out of Natick, Needham, and Weston bylaws. If they had a topic, I kind of put it in.
right.
Surety for stormwater and erosion control permits. I wasn't sure what that was about,
Thank you, that's my next question. What's that?
Surety is usually,
like a bond.
oh, yeah, basically mine.
That's exactly what-
So I don't know why we need a whole section dedicated to that, but.
Well, if you
it's
have,
up to
if you have a large project like Muzzy, for example, if they had an extreme stormwater plan.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the project goes belly up
Okay,
and they disappear, we have a surety to make sure that. At whatever point they're at, we can
put it back.
tweak whatever needed to. be.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right,
Peer review for stormwater and erosion control permits. Again, that can just be under the end of the administration part of this, but. Final reports for stormwater and erosion control permits. Again, they have a separate permit on theirs, an erosion and control permit. We don't have a separate permit for that. That's just part of the building permit.
okay.
So all of these topics may not be applicable. And then we had an enforcement section. There was a certificate of stormwater and erosion control permit compliance section. Severability and
Yeah.
adoption. The middle ones there are kind of the ones that are in question as far as applicable topics. Under general. Oops, come on, go here. Okay, under general, I have the purpose. Which was usually the first thing that was talked about, was the purpose of the bylaw, the stormwater bylaw. What the objective of the bylaw was, and then I kept this actually from, water and sewer regulations, because I kind of like it, right to amend the bylaw. Basically just saying that we have the right to change it, because for future permit iterations, we might need to. I mean, we don't intend to, but it would change over time.
Do I include bylaw and regulations?
The regulations will have that same kind of statement in it as well.
Okay,
Because I want to keep them a little bit separate, because the bylaw required the town meeting to change it, whereas the regulations potentially would only require selected.
sure.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I mean, town meeting can always amend bylaws.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they can. I just want to make it like like up front and center,
Yeah.
because when people are like, oh, well, this is what it used to be, I don't, okay, I'm
Right.
telling you right
Yeah,
now,
we get that a lot.
You do.
telling you right
Well, I
now.
built a house in 1952 and it only did this.
Yeah.
You know,
It's no longer 1952.
Okay.
So this is what I put together. I took all the definitions I found in any of the different ones and I
Thank
kind
you.
of put them in
Wow.
one place.
Yes. Is it the Uber definition?
This is the Uber definition list, based on all the different definitions that were located in any of them. I did not put in the green certificate, I'm sorry. I did highlight in blue. I forgot to ask Janine, can you see this okay? Is it big enough for you, hon?
Yep, I can see everything. All good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I highlighted in blue anywhere it mentions something that is not how Needham does it at the moment. So like, Natick's all referred to the Conservation Commission because they were the people who were in, had authority over stormwater stuff. So in those areas, the language needs to be looked at carefully to be crafted towards Needham
Yeah.
specifically.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I kept, all of the definitions. Not all of them may apply to Needham, but I feel strongly that these should be gone through and completely understood that this is how we're defining it before we pick what items you put in the document.
Right. There's no harm in including anything, right? I mean, we just,
Well,
It's a definition, you can't,
but it would be confusing to include a definition that's not used anywhere in the Bible.
yeah, like if you have something like think of what you wouldn't use.
what's the name?
If you never use. Oh, small diameter drains. If you don't even have small diameter drains in your,
Right,
in your town, you wouldn't have it as a definition, and then somebody's gonna be like, well, what's the small diameter, it's nowhere in here. But, so that could be detrimental. Stockpiling, even if we don't reference stockpiling anywhere. In any way, why would we define it? So basically, once we go through all the definitions, whether they end up in the final document or not, but once we have a good definitions list, after we finish putting the document together, I will do a search throughout the document for each of those
Okay,
those
okay.
items. And take it out if it does not appear anywhere in the document.
okay.
Okay,
It's amazing.
I may have done this once before.
Can we, not edit, but, can we do track changes on this and send you like thoughts?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, cool.
Just email it, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
in Word though.
In Word,
If
yeah, yeah,
anybody
yeah, yeah.
uses Google Docs, please send it in Word.
okay.
I love people who love Google Docs.
With the
They just
the
don't
thing on the
allow-
side, right? We're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the comments.
Yeah.
Yep, just the comment things on the side, yep. Yeah, so basically at the top of your document, you will have this thing that says review,
Yep.
and
okay.
here you'll have a setting that says track changes,
Got it.
and that's what you wanna put there. And over to the right of it, you can see either the simple part of the markup, you can choose to see all of the markups, which includes paragraphs, enters, changes, whatever, or no markup. So if while you're typing, you don't wanna see it, cause you'll see all of a sudden lines going through text that you delete or whatever. If you don't wanna see that, you can turn on no markup for you to see, and then before you save it, at the end of it, change it to simple markup or something like that, and then save it, send it to me, and then it'll all show up.
It's amazing.
But those tools are available in Word.
Yes. Every Word program since.
Oh, that's my wife.
Hmm?
I was joking. I was actually serious.
It looks more familiar to me in outside than Word.
Nope, that's a Word document.
It's a Word doc. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I can absolutely show you.
Okay.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so are we all okay with the topics that are listed in there as of right now? We can obviously change them. It's not a
Yes.
big deal.
Mm.
It's just a
Yeah, we're following
preference.
Natick, yeah.
Where would like the illicit discharge section, where would that fall?
So, here's the thing. So I did have, oh no, it actually is. I didn't, it is, I just need to update here, sorry. I was literally updating this. Like 2 seconds before I left the house. Maintenance of stormwater facilities is something else we had in ours that wasn't in anybody else's.
Okay,
And then I had, where did I we go, illicit discharge detection and elimination.
Okay.
We can move them around, we can, whatever order you find at the end, that is most pleasing to read, we can move sections around, so the number that they are is not set in, nothing is set in stone, everything is a workable document right now.
So where you have 8 regulations, are we gonna take that out and have it a separate thing, or are we
Well,
just gonna
so in
refer
Natick,
to?
so yeah, so in Natick or Weston, I don't remember if it was Natick or Weston specifically, but they just said like regulation, they referred to the regulation,
Okay,
like that, to say essentially like detailed whatever is in the regulations part, like that's not part of our, but.
so we're gonna have
have a
2
regulation.
separate documents.
Two
We're
separate
gonna have a Bylaw.
Bylaw,
Simply refer to the regulations, you know, or
and we'll have
regulations.
the.
Yeah, it's just a generic information.
It's just a general,
Yeah.
it's like a
It's
paragraph.
a paragraph, yeah.
Okay,
And it says that, it says this case, the conservation may adopt amend rules. For the regulation, yeah.
My understanding is that the regulations explain how to implement the bylaw. They don't change the bylaw in any way.
Correct.
You can't,
It gives you more guidance.
exactly,
Like-
but it was just administrative guidance for, like, for the applicant, additional information, things like
Yeah.
that.
Correct, yes.
right, but like, for example, if we were to use all of Natick's C permit threshold,
Uh-huh.
would that be in the bylaw, or would that be in the
That'd be in the
regulation?
bylaw.
And-
Regulation would
the-
be,
the-
how would you? What, the regulation would be how you, not, the thresholds wouldn't be in a regulation. So in a regulation would be like, you have to retain an inch of water, or whatever it is, the inch. How could you go about doing that? Then you would put in your, dry well, or
Rain
an
garden.
rain garden, or infiltration, so you give them all those different things and what the parameters around those things are. That would qualify under this bylaw. Does that make sense?
I hear it, but I do see confusion.
Well, the bylaw should be more general, just say.
The
you hit
bylaw is
threshold.
generally saying,
Yeah.
yeah, this is
And
what
then
you
the
would,
Right, but this stuff here is pretty specific.
we don't have to be that specific now.
You could, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you're right, it can be very specific in the bylaw, but it should be more broad, right? So
It should be
regulate-
broad enough to capture things.
Right.
So you don't have, but it should be specific enough not to create a ton of loopholes. That
Right.
somebody can say, well, I don't actually fall into this.
But
Like,
I guess the point is that if you want something to change, like, oh, there's a problem here, we can change it with the select board. As regulations.
Right.
So that's what you want, the flexibility, so.
Right. Yeah, so like the building code, for example, the building code is a state regulation, it's controlled by a state law, which is pretty broad.
Mhm.
The building code itself has purpose definitions, the whole.
Right.
I mean, we
all-
could say something as simple as, in the bylaw, you could put something like, there's a,
there will be thresholds,
based on your threshold or whatever.
I don't like that.
But
I think
yeah.
it needs to be clear.
Yeah, I think
In
the
the bylaw.
thresholds have to have a number.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can have the thresholds of whatever the 3 major things were that they had, I don't remember the specifics on it, but like the administrative is if you're just doing something quick, blah, 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 blah. Like giving a general overview, and then something more specific like the,
3,000 square feet of land disturbance.
yeah, so that would be the general, like anywhere 3,000 to 20,000 would qualify you under the minor stormwater. In addition to, in the regulations, you have, these are the things that would also. I don't know, not,
Or these are the things that qualify as land, well, actually, we have a definition.
we have a definition, yeah. Well, your definition, a general definition, land disturbance and what it means. You can say these are examples of land disturbances,
Uh-huh.
so that people have land disturbance laid out in the regulations. But the bylaw should just be a general, if you fall within this, you qualify for this, period.
Right.
Right.
I don't know if that clarified or muddied it up a little more.
I just think that whatever we decide the thresholds are, whatever the measures are, need to be in the bylaw.
Okay, why? I mean, just because you want that? I mean,
I think it's for clarity.
okay,
I was just gonna say the same thing,
okay.
yeah.
I think in the regulations, like if you say, if our bylaw says you have like 3,000 to 20,000 square feet or whatever the
Right.
land disturbance is, right, 3 to 20. in the regulations, you could say something 3 to 5 would only have to do this. 5 to 15 would have to do this. If you're up at the 20,000 mark, you're doing all of it.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? Like a little bit more
Yeah.
clear as
I
to,
suppose it could be.
How it breaks down.
Also, you know, you have in the bylaw, it, in some cases might be repeated in the regulation.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, and I definitely think it should be clear in the bylaw.
I agree,
Okay.
Okay.
The 4,000's in the bylaw now, right?
yes.
But the bylaw should provide the authority. People like Tripp should only have to go to the regulation to figure out really what they need to do. Shouldn't have to go to both. I should say the general.
That's what I
public.
mean, I see where you're going.
Yeah,
But if the information's in both.
I
I
mean,
think it would refer to, you would definitely say to it more detailed. Information is in the regulations or a detailed. Method, means and methods or something is in our regulations. Because I think I mean, I don't know. If you would never do this, but I would think that I would think a developer would look at all for whatever town they're working in, you'd wanna look at the bylaws first. The regulations might be what you use on a daily basis, but you at least have to have a general idea of what the overall bylaw is like, no? I've never built a thing in my life, so,
Bylaws what I Google,
Bylaws are right.
to just answer your question.
yeah,
Personally, I moved all of us when I come up with regulation.
yeah,
I'm always thinking about it on bylaws.
yeah,
Right,
What did you just say?
When I'm looking at a new town that I don't know the bylaws, I generally. Get on my computer and look at
The
bylaws.
bylaws first.
yeah,
I mean, whatever pops
Yeah,
up on the
yeah.
website.
Yeah.
Just answer.
Yeah.
I don't really have a strong opinion,
yeah.
as long as it's somewhere.
And I think as long as we have in the bylaw that there is a corresponding regulation to refer to, that somebody who needs more detail or more information can then go to the regulation.
okay. Janine, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree, bylaw, general,
Hmm,
include the thresholds in the bylaw.
All right,
Now, we're responsible for doing both documents and what's been out there.
technically speaking, no. Technically speaking, you are mandated with, providing recommendations to the select board as to what changes to our bylaw we should have. However, after extreme discussion and lots of conversations, I think the group agreed that the document itself that we have right now is less of a strict bylaw and more of a bylaw regulation zombie of some kind that has melded into each other. And to clarify and keep things neat, we should have one document that is the bylaw, and then have a separate regulations document that we had that they had intended to, sorry, I put my teeth in this one, intended to create back in 2018 when this bylaw was put in.
Yeah.
However, it just sort of got pushed to the side and back burner and never happened. So in order to make that a reality, the group sort of voted that we're gonna do two documents, recommend two things. And instead of just giving recommendations, provide the actual document, so that there is no confusion or question as to what's actually changing.
right. And the regulation document can then grow as you see to add to it, what the departments do.
Yeah.
And then approved incrementally.
Correct, so the regulations ideally would be the only thing that would need to be changed. I wouldn't say on the regular, but on any kind of frequency. To respond to either changing conditions in town, changing conditions in departments, changing conditions. On the permit, the NITI's permit, changing conditions by, mass state law, whatever those changing conditions are. The goal is that the actual bylaw. Won't actually change a whole lot, it doesn't have any substantial changes, pretty much ever. This will be the biggest substantial change it'll ever have. And then moving forward, unless there's some massive different thing that occurs, the bylaw itself shouldn't change, the regulations should change to meet that change.
Can you say one more thing?
You can say as many things as you want, honey.
I think impermeability is huge with the Needham, particularly the bylaws. and how well it should be defined.
I
We
totally
had
agree with
gas tank that went in, well, it went into the 25 foot, there was no permit at all for many of that.
Mhm.
And DEP considers, a propane gas tank, that it's not impermeable. But when you put something like that underground, they consider anything underground not impermeable. But when you put something like that underground, it's gonna change drainage, it's gonna change.
It is, but I
So-
think it might have something to do with how far under the ground it
Yeah.
is, so it has to be so many inches
Yeah,
for them to for them to consider it impervious.
so I guess I give that example to bring up the importance of impermeability. You know, what exactly is considered
So
impermeable
I will
in
share
the
with
town of
you,
Needham.
yes, I will share with you, if you just give me one moment. I will share with you the
And they even.
draft facts that I have provided that have not been approved yet, so this goes no further than whoever's in this meeting. It's not actually approved yet. However, the definition of impervious from our stormwater utility, that is where this was born from. We get to the,
Anything 100 above ground.
what is an impervious surface is what I had as a question. The answer to it, or what I'm suggesting the answer should be, is an impervious surface is an area within a parcel which prevents or significantly impedes the infiltration of stormwater into the soil. Common impervious areas include, but are not limited to, buildings, driveways, including paving, concrete, stone, gravel, and dirt, parking lots, paved walkways, pools, patios, tennis and basketball courts, and other similar non-porous areas.
So for the stormwater fee.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
Oh, yeah,
The entire is, the definition is a big deal.
oh, yeah.
But if we move to a land disturbance for construction, do we still need the impervious?
I think Sue was saying to have it, yeah.
I think that's extremely, well, now the stormwater utility fee is all based on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have the
Impervious.
definition of an impervious in a stormwater bylaw anyways, because you need to understand, what are we considering impervious? Because gravel, a gravel driveway, I had a resident that was very insistent that he is a civil engineer, and everybody can tell you that gravel is a pervious. Is a pervious
Yeah, when it's
material.
put down.
I
the first
said,
5
yes,
minutes.
it actually is. However, he's like, see, I told you, you don't know anything and you don't know what you're talking about. I said, I understand that. I am not I will say, I am not an engineer. But I can tell you, you drive over your gravel driveway, and if you've driven over it for more than, 2 times, you've probably had some sort of sediment, some sort of oil, grease, some sort of pollution happening. And unless you have flushed it and can give me proof from a registered engineer who engineered the system that it's clean and functioning and working properly, I can't count that. Number one. Number two, on GIS, it looks impervious to me because it doesn't, you can't see any different on a GIS system.
Right, I agree with you that we need to include a definition like that. So in your example, if we use a land disturbance, does that make it easier? Because then you don't even have to figure, like, for the fee, you have to figure it out.
In addition, you're saying,
Yeah,
in addition to impermeable square footage,
yeah.
yeah, I think that it would be a good idea to also maybe include land disturbance, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I think the impermeability stuff is so important, and I do like the way Needham. What do you think, Trip?
I think the definition is pretty cut and clear. It's a lot better than this definition.
Yes.
Thanks.
I mean, the question is like Tom's, has brought up, it's kind of bandwidth. So if you're trying to catch every single permit and every single project, that's a great way to do it.
Like,
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but if you're trying to get the big ones, you go with, the different threshold.
So Newton has a 400 square foot or 4%, whatever is smaller, for impervious area. I believe it's 400 square feet. 400. No, 4,000.
Wow, that's their threshold?
Everything is a permit, yeah.
Wow.
And everything is like, it opens up everything, so. So from,
I just wanted to point out, Joe, to answer your pools or the pools issue that people have with their pools and it being accepting whether or not it does or not. My explanation for the pool is my property has a swimming pool. Does that count as impervious area? I put in a swimming pool is considered an impervious surface because it is a structure that does not allow water to seep through its walls or bottom. This means that when it rains, the water will stay on the surface of the pool rather than seeping into the ground like other impervious surfaces.
Which is a pool's function.
To keep the water in.
Keep water in.
Yes, unless you're at my house. Because then-
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, then the wall just collapses and you have no more pool, but that's okay. So. Not that that had anything to do with our conversation for stormwater, but if they are questioning and asking why is it, that's why it's considered. That's not, I feel like it should be explained.
What about pickleball court?
Right.
Do you want me to add, I put tennis and
You're
basketball.
getting
Yeah.
a-
I put tennis and basketball. Tennis, pickleball and basketball,
Yeah.
any
different
ball
sport, you
sport.
know.
Well, or sports
Football?
court,
Just
sports
football?
court.
Yeah.
Sports court.
Sports court, okay.
You know, people put basketball courts, half courts, skating rink, permanent skating rinks.
Yeah, not the temporary ones that people put some plastic down.
Oh, yeah, that's,
We must stay away from
but there is a.
Rollerblading thing.
Yeah, well. Turns out you can spend so much money on your kids. Like no one will stop.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
I have never, I never understood how many of my friends and that when my kids were in school, they had kids in sports every season, sometimes multiple.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm about to go broke and I only allow them to play one sport 2 seasons out of 4. You pick what you want, but you're only getting 2 out of 4. I only one person, I will go back
Yeah.
crazy dealing with you if you're in multiple, not happening.
they do it. I agree.
I don't know how they do it. The equipment alone drives me crazy. And then they grow out of it next season anyway, so.
I'm doing this for you. Do you want to add a section about stormwater fee? Just a reference
Yeah,
that there is authority to
Yeah.
charge a fee.
Yeah, from time to time,
That
the
is so
board may
good.
adjust the.
Yes,
fee.
mhm.
Where would you like me to add that topic?
Oh, you're genius.
I feel like. Hmm. Authority, should I put an under authority before applicability or after applicability?
Hmm. Your call.
We can,
Yeah, that should go in there, that's fine. I
You
remember.
can put it on regulations too, oh wait, it's under fees, under
Oh, is there a few
section
sections?
7, Natick.
get section of that, the regulation section,
Yeah, the Natick has section 7, so if you have it similar,
I have a regulation section.
and then.
Oh, but those are about like public notices and monitoring compliance.
To cover the expenses connected with public notice, application review, and monitoring compliance.
Yeah, but
That's why we would charge it though, to pay for time.
No, he's talking about my stormwater utility fee.
Oh, the utility fee,
Yeah.
oh. Okay. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, another thing we brought up too is more public awareness, public education.
Yeah.
In that purpose, do you think it's explained enough if anyone wanted to go to the bylaws and really find out what's going on, just to. Like, just any resident, they would. In Needham as it stands, with the purpose, if they would be able to collect the information they really needed, to really see what's going on with, stormwater runoff. And there, I guess my question is, do we have enough public education or awareness?
We should,
Here is the
So-
question, here is the answer to you, we do not.
we should.
And until we have, until I am have figured out how to successfully clone myself
You
into
too?
another person and Tom and other people, I would be able to have an actual robust marketing department, but I at the moment don't have one, so education is one of the many projects that are on my, I would like to get done in a year, things that don't happen. And we're looking, I just told, and we had a conversation about it actually last week. We are looking at possible solutions and
AI version.
options.
AI, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can't do it.
oh,
I
think,
love, don't get me wrong, I love AI, I'm a chat GPT girl all over, but I can't.
Did you already have that utility fee in there?
I
And,
didn't know.
okay, we might want to talk to Dave Davison about that before we formulate.
Well, I'm just putting it in the title or whatever, because even at the end of the day, even before we send it up to the select, board, we're gonna have people reviewing it,
Yeah.
legal will review it, they may tell us we can't put that in there, I don't know. But it's nice to get it.
And even just with the native, I noticed firsthand, it just kind of gave a good, before it got into the individual, the purpose of it. It gave an informational, what do you call it, excerpt,
Yeah, yeah,
before they got into all the individual
yeah,
purpose.
I don't know what, I mean, I can pull up, what, Needham's is as well.
That, I know, I think the general population has no idea, what happens.
The general population generally doesn't, and in fairness, before I worked here, I had not a clue. I knew rainwater went down the drain, and I cleaned it off of leaves and other things. And I knew that my fire hydrant needed to get cleaned, so that if my house was on fire, the fire department would be able to put it out. Other than that, I had no knowledge of
Yeah.
anything of the stuff that's in the street, or the 50,000 other things that go into
Yeah.
it. And even now, I cringe when I drive by my neighbors, but I don't wanna say anything because of my neighbors.
But honestly, that's how it should be. Most people shouldn't have to worry about that kind
Right.
of stuff.
Right.
Like,
I think if it
and they
is,
only worry about it when it goes wrong.
right, I think if it is like IT, my husband says all the time, IT is a department that is vitally necessary to every single company, organization, whatever, but you should never know they're there. And if you know they're there, then there's major problems. If you don't know they're there, everything's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our purpose of the bylaw, it's just a list of what the purposes, like what the
Yeah.
reasons are.
Right.
But what you're saying is there's more of a
I
narrative,
noticed with native, I'm not telling what.
it's more of a
what you-
narrative with native.
What Tom thinks of that.
They have a purpose and then they also
Yeah,
have
they
another.
kind of have an excerpt,
they have,
then it kind of explains kind of the background a little bit.
Yes,
then
The
they have- then they
narrative,
have objectives, right?
Yeah, it kind of gives you a little more
I agree.
insight.
I think it was a softer opening.
Do we like that opening? Do we wanna lift that for the moment? We can adjust them as we go.
Yeah.
I just wanna fill in the spots.
Trying to find.
Janine, are you okay with lifting that purpose from native?
I like it, it's simple and it's clear.
Okay,
I
what
like,
about the Weston one? Did we look at the
let
Weston
me,
one?
let me pull that up.
I got it right there.
I like kind of the ones that we have too, though. And I have a strong feeling that somebody wants to talk about trees as far as part of the purpose of the bylaw. Would that be true? Or
Oh, yeah, that,
the purpose of preserving?
Which if you know things about the tree, documentation too, if I can pick your brain for 2 seconds.
okay, I heard much,
You're on.
right? You are
On the tree.
on tree
Yeah, but I thought we wrapped up.
working group.
There is one?
Yeah.
They,
I didn't know
yes, there's,
We passed the buck, I think, is what was my understanding.
yes, you recommended there be a tree committee that will then,
I thought that's what you were.
they
No.
were not, they were to grapple with what they're gonna do, so they gave the charge of what this new committee will do. They devised the charge for the new committee.
Yeah, I definitely need to talk to you.
Okay.
Just back to my earlier point, this
Yes,
needs to be a little bit, again, a lot of this focuses on nepties.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, is that ours or on the?
That's
is that-
natives.
yeah, Even natives, yeah,
We need to focus, we need to get some language in here that talks about,
the quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just-
where's this water going, who's it affecting?
Yeah.
I mean, you could even have it section A and B on specific.
Yeah.
penalties and-
Well, so the west of, that's why I bring up the western one. So the western one says the purpose of the bylaw is to protect, maintain, and enhance public health, safety, and environment, safety and environment, and general welfare of the town by establishing minimum requirements and procedures to control adverse effects, soil erosion and sedimentation, construction site runoff, increased post-development stormwater runoff,
That's a good one.
and non-point source pollution associated with new development and redevelopment.
Well, how about bringing it like A is stormwater quality, B is stormwater capacity? Because that's the two different things, right?
Well, it is, but this is sort of saying that, yes, it's supposed to, it is, it's more of like.
Yeah, a narrative.
Sue said, like a narrative instead of just the lists. Because I feel like the one in ours.
Right.
It just lists things, and I don't know about anybody else, but about 3 in, I was just like, oh my God, do I have to read the whole thing? I just skimmed
Yeah.
the rest of it the first time I went through it. And until I had to work with it, I don't think I digested
Yeah.
90% of that list. So lists are great if you keep it to under 5 things. Anything over that, and you've lost them.
I like that language, though, increased post-development stormwater runoff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good kind of catch-all.
Okay. Okay,
yeah, I kind of like Weston's better. I mean, Natix is great, but I kind of like Weston's better. Natix does touch upon more of the historical, the US EPA. Which is good to have in there, so I think a melding of these
Yeah.
two would
take
be
that one,
ideal.
cobbled together.
Yeah, I like questions. I mean, I like Needham's too.
The Needham's list.
Needham has just a
Needham
list.
has- Yeah, the list is a problem. The contents of the list is not, the contents of the list would be great. But somehow in less of a,
Right,
I know the point of a list was trying to make it easier to read, but it actually makes it not. Readable, if that makes any sense
yeah, it's,
whatsoever,
it's too dense and you just don't.
right? So let me just grab Weston's here. Add it to this.
Some of the stuff that addresses nephews that's a lot of that is, a lot of that language is mandatory, is, am I correct?
Yeah, we have some,
What language is it?
what we're trying to do to get credit for empties.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I fluid to nephews and what's fluid.
I mean, why not? I've been here for more than 6 months, like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Get on it,
I'm
man.
working on
All right.
after my budget stuff.
Yeah, that's what they all say. I will try to meld these together and
Okay.
maybe we'll have a discussion at the next
that'd be great.
meeting about that.
Yeah.
The objectives,
Right,
can I just get consensus on the right to amend bylaw? Is that just an understood thing and I don't need to put it in there as a word?
That's what I thought.
right. Right, to amend, but yeah,
Do we need to put it as stated like I do?
I think it's fine.
Good, it's good info for the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have had experience that like people like get the feathers up, then let's put it in.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, especially with the internet when, you know, somewhere in the web, you know, we put up a document that was created in 2024. Then it's amended in 2026, but somebody mistakenly pulled
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Before, and they said, well, I got this off your website, or I got this off the
Yeah.
internet. No, this is the one we have now, and
Yeah.
it's right in there.
okay,
It's just helpful.
that's fine. Yeah, that really just stands for water. Anything else? Okay, and the fact that our water and sewer regulations are from 1918, but you know. yeah, Just saying, might be a minute or two since, or 1980 is the sewer ones. No, the water ones are 80, sewer is like 1918 or something like that. 26, something like that. Some ridiculousness. Okay, so the objective, back to point, sorry. I'm sorry, Janine, I keep getting distracted and off topic. Shocking, I know. Okay, so the objectives of the bylaw for the purpose of Natick, it has a list of 11 objectives. Weston has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Well explained.
Yep, so I guess I would like to say between that and our survey list of the things that we want to
Yeah.
make sure of the objectives of the bylaw is in there. Should we just go through each one and see if all of this addresses all that, or do you want me to pull up our
Can you pull,
notes?
can you pull up our list?
Huh?
Can you pull up our list?
That's only the purpose of.
We're only at the purpose, I'm sorry, it does go faster, it will go faster as time, but you guys have a lot of,
No, Stephen.
you guys have. So.
Are you there?
Okay, so we have.
You know, purpose and objective really being the same thing, as long as
Mhm.
as long as it's well explained, each one is explained.
Yeah, I
For
think a
public,
purpose,
for the public.
well, for the public, I think a purpose is like, why do we need to have this? The objectives is what are you trying to do? So I think it's two separate sections.
Okay.
Frustrate everyone in towns. No.
Exactly. Piss off residents is really what
Right.
it says behind it, if you hold the black light up to it.
Invisible link.
I'm sorry, what am I looking for again? Survey,
Our notes, yeah.
surveys, yeah. So that was the.
Say purpose and objectives.
No,
Tom, is in Newton, is it 400 impermeable square feet, just because there's less land and more.
so challenges.
Yeah, I don't know, they've had that for a long time.
Include or address, here we go, top 3 topics you feel stormwater bylaw needs to include or address, so as long as all of these. Not all of them, but the majority of these are in. Either one of those other
Yeah.
documents covered by their objectives, we just wanna make sure we capture all of this.
Yeah.
With that being said, if somebody else wants to go through all of these, that would be fine.
You what? Sure.
Huh?
You what?
I just need to excuse myself for just a moment,
Oh,
and
sure.
so if you guys wanna go through that, or if you're. It's 8:24, I just wanna put that out there.
Wait, I could do this all night, but do you guys want to wrap it up in like 10 minutes or so, or?
Yes.
Okay, I think she could. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going on my 10th meeting.
Oh, it's you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, I can't scroll her stuff. You trying to scroll it?
I was trying to.
She's got the mouse right.
Oh,
There's the mouse.
Yeah. Right there.
This doesn't. I think it's yours.
It's up, this one, it doesn't do the screen, it does the outer screen,
Okay, hold on.
so you need to make sure the muscles, and
I see. I see what's going on.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
now I see it.
Okay.
Oh, this is what we did.
Yeah,
They-
so these are,
Oh, you know what I did? I don't know if this helps at all. But I have 8, when we were talking about summarizing it. I found 8 major things,
oh, okay, cool.
but it's all handwritten.
Oh, so I need to get,
Huh?
Scan it.
you wanna read it?
I can read it, and it just summarizes things. The biggest thing, I think, I think these are all pretty things you agree with. Further measures to address the stormwater runoff from new construction. And particularly including the significant water capacity measures. and stormwater retained on site. That was a big one. Then I had here more clarity on who allowed to make connections to the town's MS4. Fees and including illegal connections and discharges.
Mhm.
3, more post-construction enforcement. 4, more public awareness, educational material available, and more for contractors. 5, incentives for commercial and residential properties for measures that retain stormwater on site. I guess, present in commercial and residential properties, some kind of incentive. 6, soil testing requirements. 7, regrading to be addressed, including removal and replacement, of trees and stormwater retained on site. 8, explanation of the stormwater fee.
That sounds great.
That was kind of when I did that after we did the stakeholder.
Yeah.
Those seem to be, I was just trying to pick, I think John had originally suggested that, to
Yeah.
pick out eight issues, but I know those were all issues that was included. Among the,
So you had one is MS4 connection and established fees.
yeah, there was a fee question,
Established and requirements.
more clarity on who's allowed to make connections. Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
Stop talking about.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah,
Wow,
remember when John suggested,
Yeah.
oh, just pick eight topics, to summarize our stakeholder survey?
uh-huh,
Well, I did it a long time ago,
okay,
but I just pulled this out. I don't know, I mean, I can. And I just went through it, there were 8.
okay, okay.
So
So we just want to make sure that those 8 are all addressed by whatever we choose for language.
Well, I mean, I could be totally wrong.
No, captures.
I do not think that.
But if, I don't, do you think it captures
Yeah.
basically what we were concerned with?
To the tree.
I believe he plagiarized some of Josh's stuff.
What? Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then put in
It was, yeah.
objectives. Those are for objectives.
Well, it was just the concerns as the stakeholders that we had to, for what the bylaw would need.
So we
Yeah.
wanna make sure the objectives capture those 8.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
Yes,
see what you're
yes,
saying.
yes,
Yeah,
capture those
I
8
mean,
things.
but I'm sure there are more, but I think those we were kind of repeating each other on a lot of those.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
we weren't repeating, we were having consensus.
Right, right. Thank you, Kevin.
We had detailed discussions.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
I might just also add, I do feel like we should have something saying we're talking about stormwater quality and stormwater capacity, because NIPD's deals with quality, and we're also trying to address this.
yeah,
And as a sort of public education, that people understand there's this cleave.
we can make that the first one if you want.
If that helps,
I like that thought.
okay.
So how should we go through this like on our own? After the meeting and add things, or should we just pick up next meeting? How do we do that?
So Kim, you're gonna put this on, actually, are you gonna put this on?
I will put the
site,
draft
or-
on the site. So each one of you can download it. You
Yeah.
can't edit it on the site itself. You can download it, check changes, and then add things as you see fit or whatever would go in there. And then send it to me, and then I will cobble them together or compile them together and start discussing at the next meeting. The following objectives. So, 1. Say address, no. I don't want to say address, but like,
Water quality,
Regulate water quality.
address, tackle, consider.
Something about the needs of maintaining water quality as well as capacity. Addressing capacity.
Maintain water quality.
And control water capacity. Address is a good word, though. No,
Yeah, I just feel like
that's what you're
it's a
hung up on, I
lot,
know,
And
but-
then I, how many times do you repeat it in the document?
Do you think it's something in relation to stormwater runoff, like catch? Like,
Maintain stormwater runoff quality. Not parameters, but, quality.
Rate. Well,
No, maintain stormwater runoff quality, whatever the things that the levels that EPA sets, what are those? What's that word I'm looking for?
Promulgate standards.
Standards,
So number 3 here,
Set.
the Natick bylaws is control the volume and rate of stormwater resulting from land disturbance activities in order to minimize potential impacts of flooding. I would add to that, control the volume and rate of stormwater resulting from land disturbance activities and construction activities. Or something like that.
okay, so, address.
The definition
I can-
includes construction in their bylaws, so
I
that.
put my phone on silent, I guess, the alarms ring for that.
All right, if someone wished to make a motion. Wait, wait.
I can't type as fast as I used to, I'm sorry. All right, so there's number 1. So next meeting, we'll go over, if you guys want to review it and look at it and compile and download and do all that stuff.
Sure.
And then have a discussion over what the objective of the whole bylaw should be. That will be our focus, I think. And then and we'll also discuss the purpose once I've rejiggered that word or that section a little bit. Before I post it up there, I'll make sure I amend that section. And then, we'll just kind of continue through it. The next section is the definitions, which I kind of think is a big deal. So if we can all just be prepared to go over each and every one of the definitions. So those 2 things, the objectives and the definitions. And if you have any, I think that one's crap, or I think this one's explained better in Natick or Weston, or whatever your feelings are on each one.
Yeah.
We should go through those 2 things next meeting and then kind of go from there and set the next one, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Number 1. Number 2, I wanted to confirm or ask and clarify, did the select board vote on extending the?
Yes, we're all legal.
We're all legal, okay, just want to confirm that that did occur,
Mhm.
and make sure. And then to reiterate our next meeting, our next gathering together, when we will all be joyously joined
All right,
with each
It's a
other,
Wednesday, isn't it?
is on November 13th,
Yeah.
a Wednesday.
no, that's right. So,
So I just want to put that out as a reminder that next meeting is not a Tuesday, it is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay,
perfect.
so we're gonna do objective, purpose, and definitions.
you're gonna do objectives and definitions. Purpose, you will review after I've taken a stab at merging those 2 paragraphs together.
Okay,
So you're not necessarily doing anything with the purpose other than reviewing what I put out there and making comments to what I put out there.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
so now you guys can go about your regular.
Anyone wish to make a motion to adjourn?
So
Second?
Second.
Okay.
That moved by Joe to adjourn,
Mhm.
Tripp seconds, yep.
All right. John's not here, Miss Levy,
yes.
Ms. Barber.
what are we doing?
Yeah,
We're
adjourning.
adjourning.
Yes,
Shit, hard, yes. Ms. Elwig,
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Ryder.
Here.
Ms. Anderson's not here, Mr. Pace.
Yes.
Ms. Prondak.
Yes.
And chair votes yes. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic, and they have a lovely Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Goodies.
Yeah.
Nobody bringing a bag of candy like that again.
All right, I'll bring some.
Thank you, Janine, have a great
Bye.
week.
You too, have a good one.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
You have to have candy corn, right?
So the 13th, I have 2 meetings, so
It is about the most disgusting candy, I gotta say.
Oh, is it?
I'll have to, do the freezer company run to.
Yeah, I don't.
Back and forth.
We're doing that.